What's going on, everybody? I'm Guns for Hire and welcome to Game Flash News. Well, if you've pre-ordered your PlayStation 4 already, and lucky if you have because they're sold out practically everywhere, and I kinda, at this point now go, I wish I kinda jumped on that and got one. I didn't pre-order anything, not an Xbox One, not a PlayStation 4. I'm gonna have to wait till the next year to get one. Anywho, if you've got one and you wanna actually pre-order some PlayStation 4 games, you can do so now through the PlayStation 3. So they're allowing, obviously there's some sort of connectivity, which is a good sign. Obviously the networking that's established for the PlayStation 3 network is somewhat transferable over to PlayStation 4. You know, it's just a bunch of numbers on there. I don't really know about schlumping money on there, but there's a couple other things that should be more standout-ish in terms of pre-ordering. If you're thinking of it, like, oh great man, I can get a hold of it. If you really want it that badly. What is the point of pre-ordering a digital download? They're not gonna run out of copies. These aren't physical copies, they're on a hard drive somewhere. You don't need to pre-order something that is digitally available. It never goes away. There are infinite, software unless the entire network shuts down, at which time you're not gonna play anyway. You're not gonna be able to get online. So pre-ordering these digital downloads really doesn't make sense unless there's some huge advantage or something really unique that they're giving away. I mean, like really, really unique. The other aspect which I'm gonna push people away from these digital downloads, whether it's the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. These games are potentially up to 50 gigabytes. Now you gotta remember, with the next generation consoles, I believe it's standard for 500 gigabyte hard drives. That's not a lot, people. That's 10 games, 10 50 gigabyte games. Now I know not all of them are gonna be 50 gigabytes, but there are gonna be a great deal of them that are way bigger than the typical dual-sided DVD, which is like, for Xbox is limited to 7 gigabytes. You know that they're gonna fill them up. You know that they're going to be, massive, massive games here. So digitally downloading these games for your PlayStation 4 or your Xbox One doesn't really make sense. Pre-ordering certainly doesn't make sense in terms of like digitally available content. It just doesn't happen. And with the PlayStation 4, and I'm not sure, I can't remember with the Xbox One, but being able to actually play the game before the entire game is actually downloaded. So who cares? Like, oh, well, it's going to be really slow. You don't need the whole thing downloaded. It'll download a certain amount and then you'll be able to actually play it. So I really don't get it. Pre-orders, they announce it like, it's now available. I'm like, oh my goodness, wait a minute, that sucks. Why would someone do that? I don't know. Tell me why you would do it. If you're excited to do it, why would you get a digital download? Why pre-order something that does not run out? It's not gonna be like, oh, it's the last copy in the store. It's the last digital download. We just ran out of bandwidth. Didn't pay our service provider here at Sony, and sorry, we can't, we'll have to wait. We'll have to scrape some money together to get the internet back up for us. I don't get it. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's actually a smart thing to do? And how do you feel about digitally downloading, games or whatever onto your PlayStation 4? 50 gigabytes, 500 gigabytes storage. I'm thinking this is next generation. They had that on the current one, and that could be filled up. I filled it up pretty damn fast, although I have movies and stuff like that, but that got filled up pretty darn fast. Now, in terms of the next generation, why was there not a 1 or 2 terabyte hard drive installed in this? I know for cost reasons, but that's the other thing. Like, it's only $399. I'm like, maybe you put next gen processors and RAM in there, right on the cusp of next gen anyway, but you put a previous gen hard drive in. What is 500 gigs? 500 gigs really means nothing. I've got 2 hard drives that are at 2 terabytes each, and they're almost full. One I use for recording, but the other one with gaming is almost completely full. In these next generation consoles, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 should have at least 1 terabyte. At least 1 terabyte. I think that we're getting shortchanged and people are getting all excited about the price, and that's how they kept them down. Decent hardware in there, except for the storage space. 500 gigabytes is a joke, especially when you're talking about 50 gigs worth of games, and they're pushing this digital download, cloud servers, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't see it coming. Maybe I'm missing it here. What are your thoughts on that? Is that good? Is 500 enough in the next gen? That's one question I want to ask you. Is that enough? And would you consider digitally downloading your games onto your PS4, gobbling up that space on there? And why would you pre-order a game? 3 questions. Very good questions, I might add. Oh yes.